Hello, welcome to the HerBusiness podcast. I'm Suzi Dafnis. I'm your host. I'm the CEO at HerBusiness, and I want to start today with a question. Have you ever found yourself wondering why the business that once felt exciting now feels, heavy? Maybe you have more clients than ever, more opportunities, there are more decisions for you to make, and maybe there are more people depending on you. And yet somehow, instead of feeling more successful, you find yourself feeling way too stretched. If that's you, I wonder whether what's really happening is this. Your business has promoted you, but you haven't realized yet. Because in most careers, someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Congratulations, we'd like to offer you a promotion." And then what happens is your role changes, your responsibilities change, and people expect something different from you. But when you're the business owner, that conversation never happens. No one tells you that the skills that got you here aren't the skills that will get you where you want to go next. Nobody says it's time to stop doing everything yourself, or it's time to stop being the answer to every question, or it's time to lead instead of manage every detail. You have to notice this yourself. And I think this is one of the biggest transitions a founder ever makes. And I call this the invisible promotion. When you first start your business, your job is to do everything. You are the marketing department, you are the salesperson, you are customer service and finance and operations and IT and the cleaner and the tea maker. And you wear every hat because there isn't anyone else. And that is totally appropriate. Your business needs a doer at that point. But as your business grows, something changes. Without realizing it, many of us keep showing up in the same role we've always had. We're still answering every email, we're approving every tiny decision and certainly anything that's even mildly important. We're fixing every problem, we're being available for everyone all the time. Meanwhile, the business has outgrown that version of us, the role has changed, and we haven't taken the new role. So how do you know that you're due for promotion? I'm going to give you some signs. You feel like you're working harder than ever, but your impact doesn't seem to be growing. Your team waits for you before making decisions. You become the bottleneck. Every project slows down because it has to come through you. You find yourself rescuing people instead of coaching them to do things themselves. You answer questions that people could answer if they were challenged to do so. You solve problems that your team could probably solve if given the chance or the training or the frameworks. And perhaps the biggest sign of all is you cannot take your mind off the business, even when you're technically not working. And that's not because you're indispensable, we all are, it's because you've accidentally made yourself indispensable. But being the leader in your business is actually a different job. And one of the biggest mindsets I've had over the years is that leadership is not about doing more. It's about creating the conditions for other people to do their best work. Now that's a completely different job description. And your value is no longer measured by how much you personally get done. Isn't that a relief? It's measured by what happens because of your leadership. And that can feel uncomfortable. Because many of us built our confidence on being really good at what we do, being really capable, being the person who can figure things out, being the reliable one, being needed. But the next level of leadership asks something different. Can you create a business that doesn't rely on you for every answer? How do you stop rescuing, stop saving people, and actually start coaching, start leading? This is one of the hardest transitions, especially if you are naturally generous or your self-confidence is such that you want to be equal to everyone else on your team. When someone comes to you with a problem, it's often quicker to solve it yourself. You know that. You know the answer, you can fix it in 2 minutes. But every time you rescue someone, you're unintentionally teaching them where the responsibility sits, and that's with you. Instead, what if your first response became, well, what do you think? Or what options have you already considered? Or what would you recommend? Those questions do something very powerful. They build confidence in the other person, capability, ownership, and over time, they build leaders. And I want you to make clarity your new superpower. When business owners feel overwhelmed, they often assume they need better people or systems or IT or marketing. Sometimes they simply need more clarity. People cannot read our minds. If everyone is constantly asking you what to do next, it may not be because they are incapable or they don't want to do the work. It may be because you've never made your expectations visible or clear. And great leaders create clarity. They explain what success looks like. They document processes. They define what's a priority, and not everything is. They make decision-making easier for everyone. Clarity creates confidence. I'm going to say that again. Clarity, I'll try and say it properly, creates confidence in your people. And confidence creates momentum. Your business is asking for a different version of you. That is the heart of today's episode, because the business that got you here is now asking something new of you. It's asking you to think more than react, to decide who could do this instead of simply doing it, to build systems that give your team members independence, to invest in others instead of doing so much of the work yourself, to trust more, and that's a big one. And sometimes to let people do things differently than you would have done them. Now, that is not lowering your standards. That's making room for growth, and it's making room for you to have more space. And here's a question that I believe is worth contemplating. If your business promoted you today, what would your new job description be? That's exciting to think about. Would it still include answering every customer email, or hovering over your team, or checking every piece of marketing? Would it still include solving every problem? Or would it sound more like this? My role is to create vision, to build culture, to make strategic decisions, to develop my people, to look ahead into the future instead of constantly looking down, being down in the weeds. Sometimes asking ourselves that question makes it very clear where we're spending our time and where we need to make a shift. And so I would love for you to do this very simple exercise, and please do let me know if you do it. Take out a piece of paper, draw 2 columns, label the first one, things only I can do, and label the second, things I've always done. They're not the same list. And I think you'll be surprised by how much has ended up in that second column of things I've always done, simply because you've never stopped to question it. Now, this isn't about handing everything over tomorrow. I understand leveraging yourself, training a team, building the procedures, training, giving feedback, giving ownership over. It doesn't happen overnight. It is about noticing where your business is quietly asking you to step into your next role. One of the biggest myths about leadership is that someone is going to anoint you. They don't. Or appoint you. They don't. They don't promote you into leadership. You need to promote yourself. And founders who are successful promote themselves, sometimes reluctantly, usually before they feel ready. And that's exactly why it's hard. No one gives you permission to become the leader your business needs. You have to recognize that the invitation has already arrived. Your business has already been asking for a different version of you, maybe for longer than you realized. And the beautiful thing is this: when you accept that promotion, you become more valuable to your business. You become valuable in a completely different way. And on the other side of that shift is more space, more confidence in your team, better decisions all around, more time to think, your time leveraged. Ultimately, what that means is more freedom. This conversation I want to go further with. That is why I'm running a 4-week program through the month of September called the Leadership Lab. 4 90-minute sessions delivered online, all recorded. Why? Because stepping into the leader you want to become takes building the tools. That's why we have a lab. We are going to be working the tools, the process. I'm going to give you some great systems that you can use with your team to have them take more ownership, to know how to share your vision with them so that they're enrolled in your vision and they do the things that you need them to do. It's going to be around how to leverage yourself, how to actually hand off the roles that no longer fit who you want to show up as in your business. I ran this program in March 2026 for the first time. The transformations in those women's businesses have me doing the program again. 4 sessions, super simple, head to herleadershiplab.com to go ahead and register. If this episode resonated, I'd love to know what part of your own promotion you're navigating right now. And if you want further support, go ahead and join me inside the Leadership Lab. If you have any questions, just write to podcast@herbusiness.com or head over to the information page and there's a live chat. You can ask me or the team any questions. Now, I want you to remember that no one is going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you that it's time to step into leadership. Sometimes the greatest promotion in your business is the one that you choose to accept yourself. So if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. Send me a message on Instagram. You'll find us at HerBusiness. Join me inside the Leadership Lab. More than anything, give yourself the promotion that no one else is going to. You're ready for it. You've earned it. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners. Firstly, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it so much. Kate McPhee of Licorice All Sorts Consulting. Isn't that the best name? She listened to episode 362, which was called AI Visibility, Why Your Business Isn't Showing Up in AI Search and How to Fix It, with Lauren Bartley. And she said this. She said it was super helpful. She said it was a great podcast. She said, thank you, Lauren and Suzi. And I love it when I hear from you because, one, it gives me the opportunity to shout you out. Like Kate's business helps volunteer boards and committees get governance right. And you can find her at licoriceallsorts.com.au. And it lets me know that you are listening and that you appreciate what we're supporting you with. So thank you, Kate. I really, really love getting your message. Now, if you're already part of Her Business, this is exactly the sort of conversation we're having every day inside our community. If you want to go deeper into these leadership conversations, then, as I said, join us at the Leadership Lab. I'll put the details and a link over on our show notes page, which you'll find at herbusiness.com/376. You'll also find a summary of today's episode and links to any resources. And if you're new to the show, just hit subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. If you enjoyed this one and have a moment to give us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it really does help other women find us. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.